Today's topic is theatre during the later Middle Ages, from the Norman invasion in 1066 up until the Renaissance, which for England came later than it did to Italy, and dates around 1450. Christianity had yet to split into Catholic and Protestant. The religion in England was simply Christian, and the church was very powerful. This was a period when great cathedrals and monasteries were built. The language of the church was Latin, while the language of the ruling class was French, following the Norman invasion in 1066. The peasants continued to speak Anglo-Saxon, which at this stage of its development is called Middle English. The word for una recita in English is a play. Religion was an important part in the development of theatre, and three types of plays developed with religious messages: mystery plays, miracle plays, and morality plays. In the Middle Ages, religious festivals and rituals were not only acts of worship, they were also opportunities for entertainment. During festivals such as Christmas and Easter, the most important events of the Old and New Testaments were represented in forms of dialogues sung between a priest and the choir. These were stories from the Bible about events such as the creation, Adam and Eve's expulsion from the Garden of Eden, the passion and resurrection of Christ, or the Last Judgment. They were told in Latin and first given dramatic form in the church. In England and all over Europe, such performances gradually moved outside into the churchyard and then into other parts of the town. Latin was replaced by the vernacular English, which was much easier for people to understand. The 13th century saw the beginning of the cycles of mystery and miracle plays, which developed over the next 200 years. Mystery plays deal with stories from the Bible, while miracle plays are stories from the lives of the saints. This was a time when merchants and trade were becoming more and more important, and town guilds developed. These were organizations of merchants, and they controlled manufacturing and trade. Some of the more wealthy guilds organized and paid for performances. Guilds are historically important, not only for the development of trade, but because they kept written records of these performances and the expenses involved. Various companies of craftsmen and artisans were given charge of individual plays, and as the form developed, the performances became more and more elaborate. However, the religious stories were expected by the audience, and these remained. The plays were mainly performed outdoors on movable stages called pageants. Each play was performed on a different pageant, so people moved from one pageant to another to see all the plays in the cycle. Or sometimes the pageants themselves would move around the town. The word pageant now means an allegorical play, like a Christmas pageant, or a competition, such as a beauty pageant. Although dealing with serious religious themes, the mystery and miracle plays were a popular form of drama, and elements of humor and playful parody were often included. Mystery plays are still produced today in England and Germany. Morality plays were religious allegories, and they were a popular way that the teachings of the Bible could be conveyed to a mostly illiterate audience. Don't forget that poorer people had no education and they could not read or write. The characters in the morality plays were not taken from Bible stories, but were usually symbolic characters, such as the vices, greed, sloth, envy, and so on, or the virtues, patience, temperance, and such. These characters would discuss questions of morality, usually within the context of church dogma. The most famous morality play is Everyman from the late 15th century. It's about man's fear of death and his eventual acceptance of death.